I know this is going to be a very difficult concept for a lot of you guys to understand, but Giancarlo Stanton might just be the best postseason performer in New York Yankees history. What's going on, guys? It's the King of 161st June. I'm back with another video, and I did not come to this conclusion lightly. I did not come to this conclusion hastily. Looking through the stats and looking through what Giancarlo Stanton has done in the time he has had in the postseason, there is a good argument to be made. Now, I'm not saying that it's guaranteed. I wanted to put this out there as sort of an open question to you guys. Is this really a valid argument to make? Now, I want you guys to answer that at the end of the video when I make all my arguments. Giancarlo Stanton is #1 in Major League Baseball history in home runs per at-bat. He gets a home run every 12% of his at-bats. Now, he hasn't had the same amount of opportunity as some of the guys ahead of him on the Yankees home run pedestal. Bernie Williams, Derek Jeter, and Mickey Mantle. All three of them have at least 70 or more at-bats more than him. Giancarlo Stanton sitting at 130. Bernie Williams has 465 plate appearances, Derek Jeter 650, and Mickey Mantle has 230. Now, if you prorate Giancarlo Stanton's stats for plate appearances, and I'm going to make it as simple as possible, just so people understand it. So I'm going to put it in home run terms. If Giancarlo Stanton gets a home run every 12% of the time, if he had the same amount of at-bats as Derek Jeter, he would have 78 home runs. If he had the same amount of at-bats as Bernie Williams, he would have 56. Far and away more than any of them. By 50. The things Giancarlo Stanton has done on the field, home run after home run, big moment after big moment, coming up big in almost every single game of this Guardian series. Coming up big in the Kansas City series, coming off of a loss, going to Kansas City, not looking great. Giancarlo Stanton puts up a home run into left field, gives us the lead, we win that game. He has been as clutch as any of them. And I know what some people are going to say. What about Reggie Jackson? Reggie Jackson is Mr. October. And Reggie Jackson is another guy who did not have the same amount of opportunity as a lot of the top guys on this list. Reggie Jackson actually having less at-bats than Giancarlo Stanton right now. Reggie Jackson had 119 postseason at-bats. He ended his career 7th all-time in Yankees history with 12 home runs. And if we go to the OPS, he barely edges out Stanton. So there is a legitimate argument to be made for Reggie Jackson in this debate. But the moments Giancarlo Stanton has given us. Reggie Jackson really has one moment. And this may be ignorant of me to say, so I'm not going to make this boldly. To my knowledge, Reggie Jackson has one moment in the postseason, and that was his 3 home run game. It might be the biggest moment that we've seen in a Yankees jersey. But the accumulation of moments Giancarlo Stanton has had since 2018, stepping up big time, it in some ways surpasses the moment that Reggie Jackson was able to provide. And then you go to the guys like Bernie Williams, Derek Jeter. Opportunity breeds wonders for those guys. Like I brought up before, 650 at-bats for Derek Jeter, 450 for Bernie Williams. My argument to them is he's outpacing them, even though they were able to win 5 championships, meaning they made it to the World Series 5 different times, and Giancarlo Stanton is still outpacing them in every single stat across the board. Batting average not included. You're not getting batting average out of Giancarlo Stanton. All power stats, Giancarlo Stanton is still outpacing them. And the real wild card in this entire debate is Babe Ruth, because Babe Ruth has some of the best stats in the shortest amount of time. The real argument there is that yes, he played in the generation he was born into. He cannot control that. But at the same exact time, he was going up against non-90 mile an hour fastballs, and he was not going up against the best players in his generation. Babe Ruth played pre-integration. And if we look back to when baseball integrated, you had some of the best pitchers in the Negro Leagues that were able to get signed by the major leagues in their mid-40s. And they were still some of the harder throwing fastballs in the entire league at that point. Imagine if Babe Ruth had to go up against them in his prime. How would it have gone? There's a chance that Babe Ruth was just that fucking good, and he would have done the same exact thing against them. But I do think in any of these arguments, there is a hindrance on any of those guys from the 20s to 40s based solely on the fact they did not play the best competition possible. Giancarlo Stanton is playing the best competition possible, and he is performing at a higher level than Babe Ruth did. And I know this is going to be a quick video, but I did want to make this argument just to see what Yankees fans really think about this. Do you think Giancarlo Stanton has an argument as one of the best playoff performers in Yankees history? Do you think it's too soon? The fact that he hasn't won a ring hinders him? Because that's another thing Ruth, Derek, Bernie, all those guys have on Giancarlo. They won when it mattered. And Giancarlo and the Yankees from 2018 to now have not yet. There's a chance the Yankees win this World Series. And even with a World Series in 2024, does that match some of the success that the other guys have had? Let me know down below. Like the video if you enjoyed this. I'm hoping to have some good conversations with you guys in the comments down below. I'm out of here. Take care and peace.